you do it? Why the baby?
Brynnen Murphy told investigators where he dumped them days earlier.
He took 3 beautiful souls from us. 3 beautiful souls. Against him. Because we was able to bring our babies. And we get to say our final goodbyes to them.
This is the story of Kaylen Johnson, aged 24, a pregnant young mother who was brutally shot in front of her 2-year-old son by her 20-year-old boyfriend, Brynnen Murphy. He shot her dead and strategically dumped her over a bridge where no one would find her, then proceeded to throw her 2-year-old son over the bridge while he was alive and crying for his mother. Hello and welcome to Twisted Crimes. Subscribe and hit the like button for more stories. This story will be taking us to the city of Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Baton Rouge is where Louisiana's capital, flagship university, and distinctive Cajun and Creole cultures all come together. Located in southeast Louisiana, Baton Rouge is the 5th largest city on the Mississippi River and home to Louisiana's largest parish. A few celebrities in the likes of Shaquille O'Neal, rapper Lil Boosie and hip-hop artist Kevin Gates call this city home. Kaylen Johnson, aged 24, was a young mother of a 2-year-old boy.
Kaden. Kaden. Kaden.
She grew up in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. She was said to be a very devoted mother to her son who had some difficulties with some aspects of his life. She was aspiring to be a nurse, but that was halted temporarily when she realized she was pregnant by someone she had been seeing, a 20-year-old young man named Brynnen Murphy. Brynnen Murphy worked as a property maintenance worker at Kaylen's apartment complex, which was how they met in the first place and started dating. Kaylen found out she was pregnant by Brynnen. She did the appropriate thing to do by informing him. Brynnen didn't really like the idea of wanting to be a father yet, so there were some arguments between them. No one in the family knew she was experiencing such problems with Brynnen. Unfortunately, they will find out the bad way. On March 5th, she called her friend to inform her about her getting home safely and about to get something to eat, which would be the last time anyone would hear from her alive.
The last person she spoke to was her best friend, and she told her friend that she had just made it home. She wanted to take a bath and get something to eat. And that was the last time anybody heard from her.
5 days after that call to her friend, friends and family were worried about her, so they tried calling her but to no avail. The family of Kaylen asked the Baton Rouge Police Department to do a wellness check on March 11th since she and her son had not been heard from since March 5th. When officers made it inside the apartment, they found no signs of foul play. The family still tried reaching Kaylen, but her cell phone was disconnected and the call could not be made. Officers learned Kaylen was in a relationship with Brynnen, and when questioned, he denied knowing the whereabouts of Kaylen and her son. But due to some things he said, the cops believed foul play was involved. Then, while searching for her by her family members, they discovered her car in front of his apartment without the license plate on it. Also, the car seat was pulled all the way back, which showed someone taller had been driving it. The cops declared her missing and there was a massive search for her and her son. They would not give up on the search and also didn't give up on Brynnen.
And the search continues this morning for a mom and her son, last seen March 5th. Baton Rouge police asking for the public's help to find 24-year-old Kaylen Johnson and her 2-year-old son, Kaden. Kaylen is 5 feet tall and weighs about 105 pounds. Police say their last known address is on Old Hammond Highway. If you know anything about where they are, you're asked to call Crime Stoppers at 344-7867.
Feeling the heat, Brynnen could no longer take it. He contacted officers at the 1st District Police Station and was detained and transported to the VCU for detectives to conduct an interview. During the interview, he confessed he had killed her and her son. At that time, Kaylen was 6 months pregnant. He agreed to lead them to where he had dumped the bodies. He would eventually lead them to 2 different locations where he had dumped Kaylen and her son. Kaylen was found around noon in a wooded area along Burbank Drive near Gardere Lane. Her son's body was found a short while later along Central Thruway, south of Frenchtown Road. Police believe both bodies had been dumped about a week ago.
Police have discovered two bodies now 20 miles apart in East Baton Rouge Parish, and just minutes ago we confirmed there is now an arrest in the case.
Our Brynnen Murphy is here now with what we know so far and how these bodies are believed to be a missing pregnant woman and her young son. Brynnen?
So take a look at these two faces behind me. 24-year-old mother Kaylen Johnson and her 2-year-old son Kaylen Johnson. They were last seen on March 5th. Baton Rouge police tell us Kaylen Johnson's boyfriend, who's the mother of her unborn child, has been arrested. Around 9 this morning, police started searching a wooded area off Burbank Drive near Ben Hur Road. A police helicopter circling overhead. Around 12 this afternoon, investigators found a body of an adult in the woods. Almost at the same time, investigators found another body off the Central Thruway in Central. An autopsy will have to be done in order to positively identify the bodies, but police believe that's the case, and that's why they have now made an arrest.
Good evening to you, friends. Greg Merriweather here alongside Elizabeth Fowle. Tonight we have some details, some terrible details about the deaths of Kaylen Johnson and her 2-year-old son, Caden.
They were found dead in 2 different places in East Baton Rouge Parish just a few days after their family reported them missing to police. Baton Rouge detectives arrested Brynnen Murphy for their deaths after he turned himself in. Police say Murphy led investigators to their bodies. He's charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder at this time.
Let's bring in our Lester Dewey now in the Alert Center with what he's learned tonight. Lester.
Greg and Liz, according to police, Kailyn and her son Caden had not been seen or heard from since Saturday, March 5th. Her family met with police to report her missing on the 11th. Police tell us they knew something was off in this case when they found Kaylyn's car without a license plate. As officers escorted a handcuffed 20-year-old Brynnen Murphy out of state police headquarters to Parish Prison, he ignored our questions.
Did you do it? Why the baby?
Investigators believe Murphy is connected to the disappearance and deaths of his girlfriend Kaylen Johnson and her 2-year-old boy Kaylen Johnson.
He was out on the streets and he decided to turn himself in, and when he did, First District officers brought him here and we started our interview process. Throughout the interview process, he gave us information as to both being deceased and the locations as to where they were.
Police brought out a helicopter to search the wooded area off of Burbank Drive near Ben Hur Road and found Kaylen's body at around noon. Family members believe she was pregnant when she died.
We don't know if she's pregnant as of yet. We're going to wait until an autopsy is conducted.
Just minutes later, police across the parish found her son Caden dead by the Central Thruway in Central.
No reason as to why those locations.
Arrest records show police initially questioned Murphy after Kaylen's family reported her and her son missing. Police say he denied knowing where they were and disappeared shortly after. After investigators searched his apartment, he turned himself in.
We tried to interview him and get some information. He didn't give us any.
When did you guys think that this could involve foul play?
It was suspicious in nature. We found her car without the license plate on it, and from there, it raised an eyebrow. One of the guys made contact with him. He refused to give information, and then from there, he disappeared.
After examining the bodies, police believe the victims could have been dead for at least a week.
Very tough, tragic situation. Uniform officers are affected by this. Homicide detectives are affected by this. Everybody in the community is affected by this.
The coroner's office will determine the exact cause of death and exactly how long the 2 victims have been dead for. Additional charges for Brynnen Murphy could be pending as this investigation continues.
Kaylen Johnson had been shot multiple times according to the findings of an autopsy.
Inside the East Baton Rouge coroner's office Tuesday, autopsies performed on 24-year-old Kaylen Johnson and her 2-year-old son Caden, one day after both bodies were found in separate wooded areas. After 20-year-old Brynnen Murphy told investigators where he dumped them days earlier. The coroner's office ruling both deaths a homicide, but that appears to be the only similarity. Kaylen Johnson was shot multiple times, according to the coroner's office, before Murphy allegedly dumped her body and the gun along Burbank Drive near Ben Hur. For 2-year-old Kaylen Johnson, the cause of death, not confirmed, but hypothermia is suspected. The coroner's preliminary report noting Caden's body did not show any signs of trauma, even after the child, still alive, was thrown from this overpass along Central Thruway. The autopsy also confirming Kaylen was pregnant. Her family says she was 6 months along.
He took 3 beautiful souls from us. 3 beautiful souls.
Murphy appearing in court via Zoom Tuesday afternoon wearing an orange jumpsuit and blue mask. His demeanor quiet but polite, a commissioner refusing to set his bond. That hearing coming hours before autopsy findings were released, information the district attorney was eagerly anticipating before making any prosecutorial decisions.
There was a mother pregnant at the time. There will potentially add a charge of feticide if that's the case. Also, how the child was killed will give us more information as to what type of case we're looking at.
Tonight, District Attorney Hiller Moore still undecided on the death penalty.
Surely this is a first-degree murder case that potentially has the potential to carry the death penalty. Not that we're making any decisions at all.
Even as more grisly details surface surrounding how Kailyn and Kaylen Johnson were killed, her family, now charged with planning 2 funerals, say they don't hold a grudge on the man now charged with killing them.
I do forgive Brennan for what he did. I do. Because I feel like if he didn't turn himself in, we would never knew what it was at. I don't hold anything against him because we was able to bring our babies and we get to say our final goodbyes to them.
Brennan confessed to shooting and killing Kailyn in the parking lot of his apartment complex on North Harrells Ferry Road. Brennan then ditched the gun in the same wooded area where Kailyn was found. Kailyn's son Caden was reportedly in the car when his mother was shot and when Brennan dumped her body. After disposing of his girlfriend's body in the murder weapon, Brennan drove to the central thruway where he threw Caden, who was still alive, over the bridge. Sources told Twisted Crimes Brennan heard Caden crying as he drove away. 20-year-old Brynnen Murphy was arrested in connection to the deaths of Kailyn and Caden on Monday, March 14th. He faces 2 counts of first-degree murder. He is being held without bond. As to why he killed her and her child, the detective tried to get answer, but he didn't give them any reasonable reason.
She was a strong mother, strong sister.
Kailyn's sister Tiara Johnson spent Tuesday afternoon relighting candles, remembering this is where she would see her baby sister and play with her nephew.
Amen.
We hope Kailyn and her son gets the justice they deserve. Our sincere condolences to the friends and families of Kaylen Johnson. May Kailyn's memory be a blessing for her family and for all who knew her, and may her life and death be an inspiration and a turning point towards justice and increased protection for domestic abuse survivors. Please stay safe out there and see you guys in the next video.